So what we're going to do today is a Kim Kardashian inspired look. Kim is all about contouring, so what we're going to do is contour Natalie's face here, but also bring out her features a wee bit more. So we're going to start with the eyes, as Kim has quite dark eyes. So to begin with, I'm going to use a cream eyeshadow. I've already prepped this one beforehand. And while it's still moist, you've got a wee bit of time to play with it, so I'm just going to blend that in. Okay, so I'm going to use a combination of colours. To begin with, I'm just going to keep making sure this brow is really nice highlighted, so I'm using a nice matte colour here at the top of the brow. First of all, I'm going to take a little bit of highlighter and just the tiniest amount at the top of the brow here. I'm going to take a nice grey eyeshadow here. This is a shimmer. And I'm going to place this all over the lid, just slightly above Natalie's crease line here. I want this quite a winged effect at the corners, so I'm going to bring the eyeshadow just slightly out. A good tip is to always tap off the excess on your brush, and that'll stop eyeshadow from falling as much underneath. So now we've got our base on of our grey. I'm now going to go in with a slightly deeper tone, and I'm going to pull this in from the side here to make it slightly more winged in this area. And I'm going to blend that into the centre and along the lash line. I always find it handy to have a clean brush as well, just to be able to blend, and always less is more, so always add to it rather than going in with too much colour to begin with. So I'm just using a bigger brush here now just to smoke out and blend that colour there. Again, you can wipe away the excess at the end, but I just tend to do it as I go along. Just making sure that the darker colour that we're using is on the outer side to really open up the eye. So I'm really going to black out the waterline of Natalie's eyes here. So if you look up for me, Natalie, I'm going to use, and if you look down for me, I'm just going to do the top one as well here. The reason I'm doing her top waterline as well is to make sure that when she's got her lashes on, the darker this is, the fuller the lashes will look. And with Kim, she's quite renowned for having quite full-on lashes. I'm going to make sure that this is nicely winged here. So I'm doing small brush strokes, pulling it along rather than trying to draw a line at first. I want that nice and feathery thin at the top. And close your eye. I'm going to make it slightly thicker here. Again, just small brush strokes, and try and get again right to the lash line as possible. I want these lashes nice and full. I'm going to move on and apply some lashes, because Kim is very much all about her big lashes here. So I'm just going to use strip lashes. Look down for me. So I'm just touching up Natalie's own natural lashes with a tiny bit of mascara to blend in with the strip lashes that we've just popped on. So we'll move on to Kim's base now, well, Natalie's base. So what I'm going to do is use some moisturiser. So what I'm going to really focus on now is highlighting and contouring using a couple of different shades of foundation. When contouring, you can either do it with powders or creams, it's just personal preference. I'm going to be using creams today. So I'm taking my palette, and what I'm going to do first is focus on the highlighted areas. And with Kim, it's very much this area and under the eyes is very highlighted, and then she has quite a good structure of contour darkness coming here to give her higher cheekbones. So to start with, what I'm going to do is start highlighting. So it'll look a bit daft at first, but once we start to blend it all in, it should start to take shape. Now if you look up for me, I'm going to make sure I get it right in here as well, right in the eye, and taking this right down to her cheek here. It does look a bit daft and heavy to begin with, but once it's nicely blended out, by highlighting these areas, you're bringing these areas more forward. And when I go in with a darker colour, we'll be pulling them back. So especially under the jawline, we want to pull this down to really give this a lift forward. I'm just using a little bit of brightener on top here, just before we blend it. So I'm going to go in with some darker shades now. And where you want to go with your darker shades, your lighter shades you really want to go where the sun kind of hits you. So your darker shades you want to kind of go here, maybe a little bit under the chin and around the nose area and eye area here, and bringing it again up to the hairline here. So you want to kind of feel where your cheekbone is, and from there just do a little bit underneath and pull it. You want to, when you're contouring, always pull it down the way from the cheek area, and that will give the illusion that this is higher and this is a lot lower. So I'm going to begin by just popping a tiny bit on here. Now it looks really dark at the moment and a bit strange, but once it is started to blend all in together, it should start to take shape. So I'm now going to use a little bit of tinted moisturiser. I'm going to start to lightly buff this away into the skin. Before I use tinted moisturiser though, I'm just going to start to blend the highlighted areas first. And look up for me again. This is a great brush for this, because it's just a nice soft. And then using a small bit of tinted moisturiser, I'm just going to use the same brush and slightly buff these areas out. I'm just making sure the hairline especially hasn't been left with any marks that would indicate that you've used a darker tone. So I'm going to use a wee bit of finishing powder. This is a nice light brightening effect powder. I'm going to dust this down the T-zone and really focus on the T-zone, but slightly sweep it out the way as well. I'm now going to go in with two blushers. First of all, I'm going to use a slightly darker one here. I'm going to tap off any excess on the side of my wrist, and I'm going to press this on, but I'm going to put it quite high. I always like to press the colour first and then sweep it back towards the top of the ear and down towards the lobe. I'm then going to use a nice bright pink, and I want to just use that on the apple of the cheek here. And the best way to do that is if you smile for me, Natalie. Big smiles. That's it. I'm going to pop a little bit here. And lightly feather that out. And the same on this side. Then I'm going to take a little bit of highlighter, and with a small brush I'm going to do a shape like an S here, because I really want that to be captured as nice and highlighted. It's the same colour we used at the top of the brow. Same over here. Sometimes Kim likes to wear quite a red lip, but for this particular look I'm going to use a nice nude one full of gloss. So I'm going to line the lip first, all over, but I'm going to concentrate on the sides of the lips, making them slightly a wee bit deeper, and a thinner line as we get to the centre. And I'm going to use a really light colour of lipstick here, and I'm going to focus it in the centre here. I want that to be the lightest area and kind of smudge that out, just the same as what we've done with the shading on the face. I'm then going to finish it off and blend it all together with a brightening gloss. Mix those tones together just the way we did with the tinted moisturiser with the contouring. So some final touches, what I'm going to do is emphasise the brows here. That'll really add some definition to this look. So I'm going to take a darker colour slightly first. I'm going to pull that in at the brows. I prefer to use powder, but you can use pencil or cream waxes as well. To finish it off, because there is quite a lot of makeup on here and you do want it to stay in place, what I'm going to use is a fixing spray. So if you close your eyes for me, spray this a little distance away. And this will, once it's dry, will just ensure that the makeup will stay in place. And there we have it, a Kim Kardashian inspired look.